Morning. Thank you all for being here. How blessed we are today. I have spoken with Gary this morning, and they arrived safely at their rendezvous in North Texas for rest and relaxation. And we are honored to get to hear Reverend Don Seiler this morning. He is an ordained unity minister. He has been the spiritual leader of 2 different churches, and how grateful we are that he's here with us today. And Rudy is back. Thank you, Rudy. And he's going to tell us about Peace Like a River. Would you all stand, please?
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Now let's really feel that peace and flowing through us like a river. I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I got love like a mountain, love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain in my soul. I've got love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain. I got love like a mountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. In my soul.
One. Let's begin our time together in prayer. O Master, may we each see and hear guidance that we live to the very best, to the highest that we can. And as we go through our daily life, may we show the happiness that we find in all things. May joy be part of our language or our emotions to bring forth in other people. May peace be present. And may we find contentment. And above all, may we show and live gratitude. And so it is. Amen.
And it's the gratitude that makes all the difference in the world. Unity is a spiritual community dedicated to fostering personal growth in healing, wholeness, and an intimate connection with the divine. We do this through affirmative prayer and meditation that opens us up to our divine nature. We believe that all people are divine and equal without exception. Unity provides a safe space for spiritual growth without judgment, where we can be ourselves. We honor the light that shines in all religious traditions, in all people. We know that the light in them is the same as the light in us, and we call that light God. We know that what we think and hold in consciousness will out-manifest in our reality, that we create our experience. When we say what we believe with enthusiasm, it will happen. So let us say the affirmation of unity with enthusiasm. Together, there is only one presence, one power, active in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent.
Daily word today. And as I read this before I came in, I couldn't help but wish that I were generating these experiences or these attitudes all the time. It's let go and let God. The affirmation, I bless myself when I let go and let God. 2 more times. Let go, let God. I bless myself when I let go and let God. And another. Let go, let God. I bless myself when I let go and let God. If I find myself dwelling over a concern or a weighty decision, I release its grip on my attention and by letting go and letting God. When I let go, I'm placing my trust in divine mind, the source of infinite potentiality. I believe there are solutions and remedies which, to my limited human mind, simply cannot conceive. When I let God, I am trusting the grace of God will bless my life in the most wondrous and surprising ways. Letting go and letting God is how I live my faith. I surrender to spiritual truth, the presence and power of God, and believe the best outcome is going to be so much better than anything I can imagine. I affirm, I let go and let God and relax in knowing I am deeply loved and abundantly blessed. This is brought forward from John 14:1. Do not let our hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. John 14:1. Let's do silence our phones, and together, let's read our mission. Acknowledging the divine within, we welcome and empower all through fellowship, education, and service to our community and to the world. And for our core values, I think positive thoughts and speak positive words. Our safety protocol is still with us. The illnesses are still with us. Let's remember and keep all of these. There's still our food drive going on, and I can say that I saw that barrel totally filled the other day. So let's not forget the non-perishable foods to fill it.
I think it's full again today from what it looked like. Thank you, God. There's a board meeting today after the service. Everyone is invited to be an observer. If you want to say something, you need to get your name on the agenda, but everyone is invited to just attend. We are honored to be able to host Family Promise in a few weeks, so we are now signing up volunteers for staying overnight and for helping set up and take down. Staying overnight is a wonderful blessing. The lady, the mother, leaves at 5:30 in the morning to go to her job and takes her 2 lovely daughters with her. So you won't see the family in the morning, and they go to bed very early right after dinner, so unless you come to have dinner with them, you won't even see them at night. But staying here in the church is a blessing in itself. If you would like to sign up to volunteer, the sponsors that are here today, Mike Thalen is in the back, Lon Seen, Justin, and Lauren Threadgill, and myself. We will all be in the back if you would like to sign up. Please come see us. Thank you. There is a sacred service opportunity. We are in need of a facilities coordinator, someone to coordinate any work that might need to be done on the church, the grounds. You don't have to do the work, just contact the people. We now have a congregational song. I'm going to sing. When the Spirit says sing, would you please stand?
We celebrate ourselves this morning. We move to the Spirit within and sing. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, I'm gonna sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. It doesn't sound like the Spirit's doing much singing in here. Come on, we can do better than that. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, I'm gonna sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. How about clap a little bit if the Spirit says? I'm gonna clap when the Spirit says clap. I'm gonna clap when the Spirit says clap. When the Spirit says clap, I'm gonna clap right along. Clap when the Spirit says clap. I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray when the Spirit says pray. I'm going to pray when the Spirit says pray. When the Spirit says pray, I'm going to pray right along. Pray when the Spirit says pray. One more time. I'm going to sing when the Spirit says sing. I'm going to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, I'm going to sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing.
Kind of like coming home. I used to hang out here from about 2005 to 2010. And then I wandered away. And then I wandered back. So here I am. Yes, I know that it says August 31st. That was some mistake on my part. But the point is that we're here to talk about celebrating. We're going to celebrate something, and we need to talk a little bit about what that might be. Because what is the self that we're going to celebrate? And we could celebrate, as we always celebrate. We celebrate promotions, we celebrate retirements, we celebrate birthdays, we celebrate all sorts of things. But when we think about living abundantly, and this is the end of the series about living abundantly that Reverend Gary began some months ago, when we think about that, there's much more to us than just skills. Reverend Margot mentioned a little bit about what kind of skills we bring into a situation, and I wanted to mention that early on because one of the things that happens as you get older, there's some younger folk in here, but some of us have noticed that the skills begin to decline. when you find out that climbing a ladder, as an example, is not quite, well, it's actually more thrilling than it was when I was 5. And whenever my wife hears me open up that thing in the garage, so I can climb up and change the air conditioning filter, she gets very angry if I get up there before she's been there to catch me and call 911. So there's skills that she thinks I've lost that I'm sure that I haven't, because I was upstairs already. But nevertheless, things change. And so the celebration is much more about things other than those kinds of skills. First thing that Reverend Margot mentioned is that you are the light of the world. Jesus told us that you're the light of the world. And that's an important element of what we might celebrate. This what you are. Not a who you are, but a what you are. The light of the world. When you think about that, combined with something that Eric Butterworth told us, it really is special. And what Eric Butterworth said is that we are an eachness in the allness of God. We are an eachness in the allness of God. Think about that. You are an idea in the mind of God. And you've been produced as a single element in the mind of God. And that means that the light that you are, is an individual light that only you can shine. No one else ever has been able to shine a light that's the light you can shine. Nobody else ever will be able to do that. Jesus told us not to hide that light. You remember that old song that we sang in Vacation Bible School? That song about not hiding our light. Well, our light depends on how much we want to shine, but also what we shine depends upon how much we're connected to the divine, to the divine that's within each and every one of us. So you've got a very special opportunity, and that is to illuminate parts of the world, parts of people's lives that only you can do. I want to have a little disagreement. Maybe it's not a disagreement. It's a completion of what Reverend Margot mentioned. She mentioned something from Teilhard de Chardin that says, and you guys have probably all heard that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That we're spiritual beings having a human experience. But Thomas Keating, who is another Catholic priest, suggests that the truth of it is that when we become fully human, we are fully divine. That it is the divine spiritual experience that is the full human experience. We're not put here just to have, as spiritual beings, to have this human experience and then we die. Now, there's a bumper sticker that talks about that, but it's not exactly that way that they say that. The point is that we are, as human beings, really divine beings and spiritual beings. So it's not about the separate action in our lives. Thinking about that, we begin to look back over the history of our life. Or actually, as I mentioned in the earlier service, just driving here from San Antonio, I got the opportunity to experience how little divine I could show when somebody cut me off in traffic. When you drive the speed limit on I-35, you discover that people don't like you very much. And that they tend to want to push your car along a little bit. Maybe you get better gas mileage that way. But they don't really want you to drive 70 miles an hour in an 85 or a 90 mile an hour speed zone that is out there on I-35 coming here. The truth of it is that it's really hard. It's really hard to show up as the divine. It's hard to show up with a light shining that is the light of God. Because that's not how we're raised. That's not how we live. That's darn sure how we're not on, or how we don't behave on Facebook and Twitter and other places like that. So we think back into our life. What's the story that we're telling? Are we actually in a story, or are we in a game? My wife worked as an associate in a law firm, and she spent about 5 years. And she tells a story about how she could not stand playing the game. To try to be a partner in a law firm, it's a game. You have to do this, and then you have to do that, and then you have to do that, and then you have to do that. And then now you're a partner, and whoops, the game starts again. It's a whole new game that you got to play. And yet, that was the way her life went for 5 years, until she made some other decisions. Another way to look at this is that when we begin to tell the story of our life, are we telling the story of the plot of our life? In other words, this happened, then he did this, and then she did that, and then she said this, and he said that. And as we move along in that plot, there's no people except she and he, but not that depth of character that we get by connection, by relationship with each other, and then most of all, by relationship to ourselves. When you're playing that game of life, all you're doing is rolling the dice to see how many spaces you can move. You're seeking that card that you pull out that says, now you won this, you got this, or you have this certification. In my case, I spent my life getting certified. And I ended up now being just certifiable. The truth of my life is that I just kept trying to get the next piece of paper that said I was a smart person. Or that, and the same thing kind of happened when I decided I needed to be an LUT. And then I decided I was leading a church as an LUT, but I really thought I needed to become ordained in order to be more real. But the truth of the matter is, I'm still just the same guy that's standing up telling you a story. And when I begin to tell the story of who I am and get out of that plot and get into the story of who I am, that's the story of the life that we celebrate. Not the plot and not the game. There's a woman named Imelda Shanklin, and she wrote a book, and we talked about it earlier. I've owned the book for about 20 years, and I finally read it. In the last couple of weeks, since Gary talked to me about this. And notice it says, what are you? Not who are you. Not what's your name and where were you born or any of those pieces of the plot. The question is, what are you? And that what are you is the light of the world and eachness in the allness of God. That's what you are. She talks about in there about the impersonal and the personal. Now, the impersonal is that of you, which is of God. It is unchangeable. You can't change the light of the world. You can hide the light of the world. You can filter the light of the world, and so it only points in a certain way based upon your history or whatever has happened to you in terms of plot. But you can't change that light. All you can do is cover it up or change how it shows up. That personal of you is how you choose to live through that light. In other words, as I'm driving down the road, I get choices. I get personal choices about what I think, hand gestures, whatever it is that may happen in traffic. That's my choice. That's my personal choice. And she talks to us about the elements of choice, elements of our lives that are important to us. And each one of these has to do with that idea in the mind of God that we are, but it also has to do with that personal elements that we can change. Now, Imelda does not cut a lot of slack. As an example, when it comes to the physical, she says, if you're not physically fit, you're not an expression of God physically, and only you can change it. She doesn't say, and I mentioned this earlier, where I had gained a lot of weight when I was in my last church. There's something about being a minister that makes it easy to gain weight. Potlucks and things like that, I guess. I don't know. But what people says, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine just where you are. And I said, now hold on a minute. Let's talk about this a minute. My I am, that unchangeable part of me, is just fine. That's right. But that I am wants to persist in being the light of the world for a whole lot longer than it will if I stay as heavy as I am. So, as Imelda would say, I had work to do. And she didn't say you're just fine. If you want to be physically fit, you got to do stuff to be physically fit. And that's that physical part of things. Doesn't change that you're a child of God. Doesn't change any of that stuff. But how you show up in the world and the light you show in the world and how long you show the light in your world is dependent upon the physical part of you. And the same thing happens in the mental and the spiritual. They're not separate. They all influence each other. They all influence each other. But when we go to that mental part of us, that's how we choose to do what we need to do for physical fitness, to do what we need to do for our spiritual fitness, and to do what we need to do for our mental fitness. It all depends on our mind and the thoughts we think about how we show up and what happens in our life. You guys have heard the story. Eric Butterworth told this story about how we're all like a wave. We're the water in the wave, and God is the water. You guys have heard this story. He says it's not like we're a piece of raisin in the bread, that we are actually made of God's stuff. So I hang out with some Jewish folks. I figure that's the best way to learn the Hebrew Bible, is to maybe go talk to people who use the thing every single Saturday, rather than just folks who use it to prove that Jesus was real. So I go to listen to Hebrew folks, and this came out in a book. And the way they tell the story, the book was just printed last year, and the way they tell the story is there was a big wave and a bunch of little waves. And the big waves was telling the little waves, saying, I'm just worried to death. I'm scared to death. And the little wave says, well, what's wrong? And the big wave says, we're all going to die. We're going to crash into the beach, and we're all going to be dead. You guys don't see this. I'm a big wave. I can see over the top of all you guys, and everybody's hitting the beach and dying. And I'm scared. I'm worried. And the little wave said, I can help you with that. Big wave says, well, how much is it going to cost? And he said, it's free. He says, I can help you through this. And the big wave says, we don't have time for me to sit here cross-legged and praying and doing Om and meditating in order to get over this fear. We're going to die. We're going to die. The little wave said, I can tell you in just a few words. The big wave says, okay, go ahead. And the little wave said, you're not a wave. You're water. You're water. And that's what we celebrate. That's what we celebrate, is that divine self that is you. not this self, that divine self. And we celebrate that effort that we make every day to shine that divine light in every part of our lives, including traffic. Because there's nothing greater than to think about the fact that only you can do this. Only you can shine the light that is your light. Only you can illuminate the world that is yours to illuminate. So we celebrate. We celebrate that truth. That you're the light of the world and you're an eachness in the allness of God. So let's get into a space that you're comfortable with. Realize that the pew is holding you up. Gravity's got you. Just take in a few cleansing breaths. Take in that deep breath and just let it go. And as you let go of tension, let go of concerns, let go of fears. And as you breathe, with each breath, say to yourself, I celebrate my eachness in the allness of God. I celebrate that I am the light of the world. I celebrate my eachness in the allness of God. I celebrate that I am the light of the world. I celebrate that I am the light of the world. I celebrate my eachness in the allness of God. And as we return to this room, to this time, to this place, let's repeat that affirmation. I celebrate my eachness in the allness of God. I celebrate that I'm the light of the world. I celebrate my eachness in the allness of God. And so it is.
The Lord's Prayer as translated from Aramaic. Father, Mother, Birther, and Breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. For age to age, from you comes the glorious harmony of life. May these words be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
You are the dance, you are the hope, you bring the laughter, and I am drinking deep. My cup is full, forever after, full and empty too. I dance the dance with you, and everything is new through you, because of you, dear God. You are the dance. Yes, you are the dance. You write the song, the light fandango, and I surrender here, surrender right now to celebrate and go full and empty too. I dance a dance with you, and everything is new through you, because you are the dance. Dear God, you are the dance. You are
It does good work in the world and returns to me abundantly. Abundance, if you would gratefully bring your offering and place it in the copper bowl, and that can be just love. Come up and hold your hand over the bowl and bless this church. It can be gratitude or offering, whatever your tithe, and take an affirmation or two for yourself and a friend. And online, you're welcome to use the barcode and do a gift online. So now we'll have the walk of abundance. Thank you, Father, for all of your blessings, for all of us in our lives. Thank you for these seeds that we have given that will go out into our community, shining your light through us for many avenues that we won't even know about. Thank you for answering any concerns that we may have on our heart now. And hear our gratitude for your already answered prayer. We bless the requests for prayer that are in the prayer box in the foyer. Thank you for hearing our prayer. Our prayer chaplain for today is Bev Braun. And she would love to pray with you at the end of the service if you have any concerns or any joys that you just would like someone to pray with you.
We still have the used books out there. Go check them out. There's others that come in. They change as we go through the week. And put your love offering on top of the bookcase in the basket. We would still want to thank Tim Anderson for his idea of the necklaces and to give to UNICEF for Ukraine. This is a sure way of getting the money where we want it to go. We have the Unity Prayer Service from 12:15 to 12:45 each Wednesday. This Wednesday, we will not have the luncheon that we normally have, but this is a meaningful time to step back in the middle of the week. And let's pack the school bus. It's time to start school, and they always need help in the supplies, so let's do it.
Thank you. Tomorrow night is game night. Please come and play with us. If you have not done that, Deb's going to be in charge. Bring a snack. Whole lot of fun. Whole lot of fun. Next Sunday, we're going to have our potluck. Ada, I bring a main dish. Yes. We've been asking for that, and it's going to happen. J through R, sides and salads, and S through Z, desserts. If you think about being able to help set up or clean up afterwards, let us know so that we'll make sure that we have ample people. And now Rudy Harst with his special music.
Well, here we are, feeling fine, celebrating life, having a real good time, living life with a smile on your face. Now let's step on up into a higher place. Come on, step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Well, you could be uptight or just hang loose, and life's a game, right? Freaking choose. Living life with a smile on your face. Now let's step on up into a higher place. Come on, step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place where we're living on purpose, following dreams. Life is so much more than it seems. Trust your heart, feel the grace as you step on up into a higher place. Come on, step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Well, let you step up higher, start to soar. We're finding out that life is so much more. We've got lots of lifetimes to play together. So goodbye for now and hello forever. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place. Step on up, step on up, step on up into a higher place.
Thank you, Rudy. What a blessing you are. Thank you. And now we will say thank you to all of our online visitors who have been with us. Would you turn around and wave and send your love and gratitude that we are able to share online? Thank you very much, and goodbye. Now then, do we have